Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. You are here with Platinum X Divas. I'm your girl Crystal Beyond Labels. We have awesome sweet tea.
Hey everyone.
And we have 757 Bay.
Hey.
Whew. Are y'all excited?
Yes, very.
I don't know how excited I'm excited to get in here and hear this interview and see if we actually find anything out.
Because we know they're about to play. They're about to play in our face again, right?
Right. What's one of the first things you think that they're going to ask her?
About her being in a middle class family.
No, they don't have to ask her about that. They could ask her what color the sky is, and she's going to bust out with, "I was raised in a middle class family. My mom worked, blah blah blah." So they don't got to ask her about that. She's going to tell them about that. I hope they ask her about her plan. I would actually love for somebody to dig in on her stance on putting controls around social media and free speech. I would like to hear more about her Second Amendment plan. Those are things I would like for somebody to really grill her on, because I would like to understand, does she understand her plans are unconstitutional? That's what I like to hear.
I would love to hear that too. But is that what's going to happen? Because this is Brett Baier. This is not Harris Faulkner. And y'all, it is live, so let me get it going for everybody, because I want to make sure everybody's
I would love for Harris Faulkner to interview her. That would be my dream scenario.
Immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have, and you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but just a number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish.
You had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and they didn't bring up that bill. I'm responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungary, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungary's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss, sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in all fairness, I told you,
All the individual who don't want to participate in answers.
my family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist. They will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how the system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said at 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
No, but let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel, to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many
He
of
just
them
said as vice president.
You're
running for
seem to
president.
break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what, you got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in this presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters, because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, It's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They
On
say it was
plans for
different,
the
but
American
we'll move
people,
on.
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker,
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam Vice President, more than 70% of people
that is
tell
about
pollsters,
turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become,
power.
but listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him
Madam
instead
Vice
of
President,
the American people.
if
People
that's the
are
case,
tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
so
cakewalk
are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
He was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you.
That was the question that we asked him.
He didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the president of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump...
The significance of that.
You call Donald Trump... he's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
But
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out, even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the number one threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
But those
is,
proxies were getting
and
funded
my
by Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates in billions.
It was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go towards
that
the Iran regime.
That we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention how Donald Trump has
all of this money
has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers,
Hamas,
has diminished the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision
and there are critics
that they feel.
who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have
there
much more
there
to
are
say,
a lot
actually.
of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why we
I invite everyone to go to KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do.
And that's why we invited you here,
our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military, and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's bring in our panel. Martha McCallum, anchor and executive editor of The Story with Martha McCallum. Dana Perino, co-anchor of America's Newsroom, co-host of The Five, and Harold Ford Jr., former Tennessee congressman, co-host of The Five.
I'm just going to say it first. What the hell? What the hell?
That was straight. I needed to laugh because I wasn't feeling too well before I came up here, but I think I'm feeling a little bit better now.
That's definitely the hardest
I
interview.
feel so good.
That's
we have
the toughest interview she's had.
Hold on, can we? I'm so serious. I need a standing ovation. That's what we need. That's what we need.
I would like to marry him, even as a sister wife. He's the man.
For the first time, she actually had hard questions that were thrown at her.
Yeah.
She started to get angry. She started to
yes.
laugh, and she was fumbling over her words.
Yes. All she wanted to do was complain about Donald Trump, and it's almost like you could see her wanting to yell at him. Why don't you hate him as much as me? Why don't you hate him too? Just hate him like I do. Why can't you hate him? Like, she was so stuck on her messaging. Here's the one that got me, and I even made a note. When he asked her, do you owe these families an apology? And she danced around that and then said, you have to take responsibility for what happens in your administration.
Right.
What?
But she,
what?
Yeah, she hasn't for anything. She's tried to remove herself from what has happened the last almost 4 years.
Listen, all I can say is, at first, Brett Baier, I feel like Trump is going to shake Brett Baier because he has been on Trump's other side, because he's one of the softer, I let it slide type of Fox News anchor. Tonight, he was like, nah, y'all ain't gonna lump me with the likes of CBS, ABC, and the rest of them. I'm about to come here and I'm gonna. Yes, she was unburdened. Exactly, Lindsay. She unburdened herself.
He was still professional. He was polite. He was fair. I mean, it's not like he asked her legitimate questions that and did you guys not notice when she said, "That's what I'll do as VP"? Heifer, you're VP now.
Exactly.
We know what you will do as VP. You're running for president.
She was so baffled. Yes, she couldn't even talk right.
Yeah, he flustered her when she said that. That's what I'll do as vice president. He totally flustered her with that, and she did not know what to do. And
she was also delusional about the number of people that say that they're not happy that the way that the United States is currently going right now.
79% don't trust her to run the economy. And the thing is, the other thing is Goldman Sachs and the other people she was pulling out they've come back and said, like the Wharton School of Business, we don't endorse her, right? And I would encourage anybody to go to the Tax Institute, where they do a comparison and show that her plan is not going to benefit the economy, So she was, wow. That was a good interview. I mean, and I, like I said, I think he was professional. I don't think he was unfair in any way. I think that he, really
he cooked her. He cooked her.
He cooked her for sure. Oops, I don't want to show that yet. Sorry.
It seems like her team didn't come up with a great plan at all, because that was another nightmare for her. And if people had decided and they had to look at that, it's not.
I know. Oh, to answer Beautifully Flawed in the comments, when was this interview? It happened. I don't know when they recorded it, because it was a pre-recorded interview, but she did it live. Yeah, them earrings ain't save her this time, Pamela. You right. Them earrings ain't save her this time.
No, they did not. Not at all.
Like, I have no words.
So,
like, he pulled up all the receipts. He pulled all the receipts. He said, "Hold on, let me get this up here real quick." And she just looked like, "Are you kidding me?"
But
but come on, that was amazing. I mean, we all know that was. I mean, come on, that was just.
When she said that Trump was unstable, and he reminded her that you told everybody, looked at them in their face. That Joe Biden is perfectly fine. He's in his right mind, But you can make a judgment call on Trump, but you're sitting right here meeting this man weekly, and you can't tell us that he's unstable. That is a problem. That's a problem.
That's when I fell in love with Brett Baier. At that moment, I fell in love with Brett Baier.
That was the.
You know someone's out of their mind. You met with Biden, who keeps walking into walls and talking about ice cream.
but you can make a determination, an assessment of Trump, and say that he's unstable. She's like, he is unstable.
That's how she gets. He is. Why don't you believe me? He's unstable.
I'm gonna tell my mommy you don't believe he's unstable.
He's
That's what it looked like. It looked like she's gonna cry and be like, "Why aren't you my friend? You're supposed to have my back. I don't like you. I thought you were going to protect me."
Yes, I thought you liked me. Why are you being this way? Yeah, she took that real personal that he didn't want to agree with her. But that was the best. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up. This is the Tax Institute. For those who want to look at it, this is the Tax Institute and their look at the comparison, right? So when you look at 10-year revenue, yeah, hers will go up some. But when you talk about the overall loss, so if we look at 10-year revenue, hers will go up. That's true. But the long-run GDP is down by 2%, whereas Trump's is down by 0.2%. So a 10-time loss in GDP. Long-run wages, her plan will bring us down by 1.2%. Trump's would bring us up by 0.6%. And then she would lose twice as many jobs with her plan at over a loss of 786,000. Trump, we're looking at under 400,000. So the idea that her plan is better is not matched by the Tax Institute in any way. And this is the Fair Tax Foundation, which is a very independent foundation. If you want to go check this out for yourself, they did a comparison. So I don't know where, I keep hearing these economists, but I'm like, what economists? Can you please just name all of them? Because they keep just saying economist. Well, who? And look, I always look at Paul Kruger, who did the New York Times, writes The Economist. He won the Nobel Prize in economics. He's also the man who said that the internet would go the way of the fax machine because it was so irrelevant and to the future. So just because you win the Nobel Prize doesn't mean that you are going to make good calls all the time. Okay, so.
Right.
Do you see his comment? I like that little jab he took about her saying all she wanted to was to talk about Trump. She wanted to get all that out. She wanted to. He gave her. He's like, I hope you were able to get everything you had on your mind out to everyone.
Yeah,
your TDS
talk about Trump. Yes,
that's
what you wanted to do.
The level of pettiness, I'm here for it. I love it. Because everything that she said on the campaign trail, he basically right back at her, and she. And her people could not have been prepared for that. They were not.
No, not for them pulling up that grieving mother, which she should take responsibility. Yes, she was like, "Oh, yeah."
Yep.
I wasn't expecting to see.
She looked like somebody on a true crime story when they're like, "I had nothing to do with it. We have video and DNA." Oh, that's what she looked like. And it wasn't me. Yeah, she was not prepared.
She's like, wait, you're going to bring that up now?
Wait, I said it wasn't my fault. I blamed everybody else. Why are you making me look at this?
You have an actual video of this lady on TV.
Wait, those people are real? Oh my God. Yeah.
And I was at the border.
Yes. Border Patrol has endorsed Donald Trump twice, and they endorsed the HR2 bill that is sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk, because one of the things that bill does is it addresses the asylum issue, that you can come here, get here, claim asylum, and you get a year afterwards to just do whatever. Right. And they don't want to pass that because it will stop the ability for people to just stay here and claim asylum whenever they happen to run into the police.
Right, because it will make them return back to their countries until their it basically comes up. But that's the only thing I wish that they would address when mentioning the border. And she says that Donald Trump called his people and told them to kill the bill. I wish that. What about the HR2 bill that's sitting on?
Yeah.
I haven't seen any reporter do that. And I wish she would have played that card with her, because she probably would have passed out in the chair if
I'm telling you, Brett was getting her with the 1-2 punch. I mean,
Girl.
Uppercut, right cut.
Did you see what Lauren put in there? She said, if those pearl earrings were a hearing beast, didn't have time to talk to her, he was spitting too much facts. He didn't have time. The people were like, hold on, we need to pull information. It's not enough time. I can imagine the people behind the earrings.
They were probably like, oh my God, this is a real interview. He's being a journalist. And you know what? They're not going to let us edit this like CBS. They're actually playing it. Oh my God. I mean, but she did. You could tell she was like, why are you fighting with me? Why are you arguing with? Just hate Trump. I also liked how he pulled out, well, how do you explain the fact that half of American voters support him?
Right.
And she, and I also like how she said, I would never call the American people dumb. You literally called all college students dumb. You literally did. And you think we're dumb. You and Tim Walz, because you're up there talking about white guy tacos and cooking collard greens in a bathtub. So you obviously think we're all idiots.
Wait, my favorite part was when he pulled out the video where Harris Faulkner was talking to Trump, and he was talking about and she was like this. Wait, that's not the part that I wanted. There's another part.
Oh, well, I didn't. He's like, well, we asked him that question. Well, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear you ask it.
Her whole tone changed. That
Let me tell you what. She just guzzled a bottle of bourbon when she walked on. She was just like,
right. Exactly. Her whole tone, her everything, which shows that, she was in a panic. She was frustrated. She did not know what to say. And whatever talking points they gave her to come out there were not working this time.
But they're all the same. Look at Walz and look at her. Trump is a madman. These former people who worked for him don't endorse him. He's crazy. He's going to destroy. It was all the same. It's like you don't have. Look, if it were me, I would be like, we're not going to talk about Trump. I'm going to talk about my plan. It doesn't matter what he does, right? I don't care whatever with Trump. I don't need to convince you he's a bad guy, because I can convince you I have the best plan. So I don't need to talk about him. The only reason you're talking about him is you have nothing to bring to the table.
Right.
And the problem is whenever you bring somebody else up, you open for everyone to compare you. And half the country is looking at their phone going, I had this much in Bank of America when he was president, and I got this much when you were president or vice president. And you have opened that. She would have been like, look, that was the Biden administration. I'm not talking about Trump. I'm here to lead a new way, and this is what I'm going to do. And I don't want to talk about them. That's what but she has no plan. She has nothing to say. So she has to talk about them.
You see the comment? She probably had moonshine.
Something. I mean, but she kept, you could tell how desperate she was to get in. But Trump is bad. He's crazy. He's unstable. And, when people bring up to me that, these people who worked for him don't endorse him. Well, guess what? I've worked for bosses I wouldn't endorse either. Right. But the other thing I will say is the fact that a bunch of lifelong bureaucrats don't like Donald Trump is an endorsement that I want to see. The fact that people who have spent their careers in Washington working for politicians go, I don't like this man and he's unfit, is just a checkbox for me to go, that's the guy.
Yep.
That's the guy.
100%.
Because bureaucrats want nothing more than the status quo and no chat. They are the classic church lady of, that's my seat, that's my pew. Yep. And Donald Trump came in and is like, nobody gets to sit in their pew anymore, and they got mad. So that's all it is.
She mentioned that her policies were on her page, and it was about 80 of them.
80 pages.
I'm on her page. That's all I see is issues. I don't see policies. I just see, am I overlooking something here? It just says issues.
Yeah, she just has issues. Let me see if I.
Oh, she's got issues.
Yeah. We'll put policies up there, but it just says issues. It has nothing about policies.
Let's see. I haven't looked at her page in a while. Let's see what she got going on. Campaign website. Let's see what's happening. Okay. A new way forward.
Of course.
Well, they're asking for money, so we've got that.
Let me see if I can share it with the people.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
okay.
I'm not subscribing. No, I don't want any merch. Oh, it's trying to make me buy something.
Like, we're not buying nothing from you, ma'am.
No, I'm not buying your line of BS, and I'm not buying anything else you have.
Okay, so here's her page. So, a new way forward. And then we have build an opportunity. This stupid opportunity economy, I'm going to slap her with that crap. Like, I'm so sick of that. Like, stop giving the fairies and the rainbows and stuff. Tell me something.
We had an opportunity economy before C-19 hit, and we would have one again if you guys hadn't have done the Inflation Reduction Act and driven inflation up.
Here's her thing. Cut taxes for middle class families. Boom, 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 boom. Unlike Donald Trump. How many times do you think Donald Trump's name is in here?
Many. We should do that as that should be a contest on the Discord, which everyone should check out. Is if you guess the number of times Donald Trump is in that document, you get a prize.
Yep. And y'all, just so you know, we do have a Discord channel.
Yes.
Please tell them about it, Terry. Awesome.
So we are. I'm gonna and I will put the link up. But this is the name of it for those of you who want to look. So we are starting a community Discord called Beyond Labels. We have some featured creators on there. We have 3 of us, and we have a couple other who's joined, and we've reached out to others. So the Discord has all of your favorites, so you can get all the Crystal you want, all of her X, all of her YouTube, all of her TikTok, all right there on her channel. Same with 757. You can get all of her posts in one location. You can have a forum where you can talk to all the creators. We've got stages set up. So we're going to be doing lives there where we can raise hands and have conversations. We're going to be doing webinars. Crystal's working on a Bible study right now. And we've invited Wonderfully Made, who's going to be coming on, and hopefully she'll be teaching us some vegan recipes. So we would love for you to check out our Discord, check out the creators we have on there. We're adding new ones pretty much every day. And next up, we're coming out with our Beyond Labels website, where you will be able to go in, give us your contact information so you can be on our email blast and text chains so you know what's coming out. And you'll get noticed when we start to release our new podcast. We've got some exciting work coming up. Platinum Divas is working on their weekly podcast that we're going to start pushing out. And we're working on a daily reality check where we check these fools in the news and in politics for about 3 to 5 minutes a day so that all of us can stay grounded and know what's going on. So there's a lot coming out. It's all on the Discord. You can look for Beyond Labels on the Discord. If you reach out to me on TikTok, I can send you the link. It'll take you to our welcome page where you can sign up on our contact list. So we hope you all join. And also, you will get notices when we're going live on here, so you won't miss any of our fantastic commentary and over-the-top reactions to the foolishness that happens.
Yes, because I lost my mind in this interview.
Yes, I did.
I think I fell out. Was about to fall out of that chair when he pulled. Well, let me show you this mother.
Oh, it was so
looked
pretty.
Like I was ready. I was ready for it. Oh, I feel like.
So
I hate to say it, but I feel like I had a good workout tonight.
Yes.
Person, she's somewhere crying right now. I know it.
Oh, she's somewhere yelling at her. I'm putting in for anybody who wants to check out the Discord. I'm putting the link here. It actually goes under Crystals because I'm on her, but you can see the link right here, and you can grab it and join and click on that. And yes, it is branded because we're bougie like that.
We are.
Go in and check it out. I was waiting for my head to explode, but Brett Baier, he's the man.
I did not expect that from him. Oh my gosh.
But he was so calm and so respectful and held her feet to the fire. He was the ones who have gone after Trump have made it personal and been disrespectful. He went after her, but it wasn't personal. He wasn't, yeah. He wasn't trying. Yeah, it was straight facts. It was not an attack. He didn't insult her. He was respectful. He really, he has proven himself to be a true journalist that, you can listen to it. And I love him. He replaced Britt Hume, who was my all-time favorite anchor because I'm that nerdy. And I didn't know if he could do it, but tonight he really held his own.
I will send, because I know some people are asking me to send it to them. I will send it to you because people are sending friend requests. So I'll definitely send it to you guys so y'all can be in the know.
Yes.
Be in the mix, because we're going to be having hilarious moments like this all the time.
Yes. Yes. And the Discord's going to be fun, guys. We just started it, 3 or 4 days ago, but we've already got, I think, 6 creators on there that are joining, and others who are in the works. And we're going to have polls, and we're working on games for everybody. And you'll get to see everyone's media feed on there, and you'll get notifications. So get in on the ground level, so you know you're in the know with the Discord. And we're rolling out new features probably every 7 to 10 days right now. So you want to see all the exciting stuff.
Yes, please. We're going to have so much fun in there.
Yes.
And we're going to be listen, you can get 24/7 of this right here.
Yeah, I mean, yes. All the content, all the commentary, all the jokes. I mean, you don't want to miss out on being part of that community. And again, all the other great creators that we've met that we want to introduce you guys to, and then they'll introduce us to their people. And that's what we want to do, is build the community so that regardless of what happens with the election, we have to realize our work is just beginning. If Trump gets elected, we've got a midterm election that we need to reach out and educate people and focus on. And if he doesn't win, well, we got to figure out how to have a national divorce peacefully. So there's a lot of work to do either way.
Absolutely.
A lot of work to do either way, right?
I'll be coming back to Florida.
Yes. Yes. So I'm good. I'm in Florida and Texas, and I know either one of my governors will tell Washington to F off. So I'm good. Whichever.
See, I'll come join you. I'll come join you, because I'm here in Hotlanta, and we know how that will go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we've got work to do, and it's about building a community. And I think our next phase is focusing on what we can do as far as, where can we target boycotts? Who can we call? Who can we write? What can we petition? So it's not just about having fun and seeing all of us, although that's a part of it, but it's about doing things that are actually going to help move the country forward.
Absolutely. So I have enjoyed this time with all of you, but
I'm going to tell you, I'm so happy that interview has made me smile.
I feel like I prayed. I prayed today, and God said, you know what? Because I'm about to go join a Bible study. Y'all all know I'm about to head over to AT's Bible study.
Yes.
I think God said, I'm going to honor my children today. I'm going to give them a gift.
Yes.
Yesterday, I knew that she was going to fumble the bag.
I
knew it. I knew there was no way.
Well, she didn't fumble. Brett Baier knocked that ball out of her hand.
All the way out.
He came walking up, and he was like, he knocked that ball out.
I played very well.
That was wow. That was awesome.
What was I going to say? Jamie and Lindsay, I know you both asked me. I sent you the link to the Discord in your in our Discord message, so you have it there.
Yep. And please feel free to pass it on.
Yes.
Everyone's welcome.
Absolutely.
You guys are welcome. We love all of you.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. This was a blast. We will do it again. I think we're working on doing election night coverage, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to need lots of snacks. And
we're going to have snacks galore.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be.
Guys.
And late night, we're going to have to plan to take the next day off or start late. So hopefully we will have a president that night, but I'm actually not counting on that. I'm preparing myself.
Ladies, I wanted to ask something. Can we put together, Awesome, you're great with the charts, because everybody's asking you here. Maybe 757, you and I can put together a list and put it up on our page, because people are asking, where when is it time for us to early vote? Because we want to get out an early vote. So maybe we should
Yeah.
put something like that together for the people so they know how to get out there now and get their votes in right now.
Yeah, we absolutely can. We can work on pulling that together on what states are doing early voting. I think there's a download, but if we get one, we'll definitely blast it out on the Discord. We can put it in announcements and post it in the community chat and pin it so people will be able to see it. So for sure.
Has already started.
Yeah, North Carolina started, Georgia has started. I know that much.
Yep, I saw somebody went. So yeah, let's work on that. I'll look and see what we can get out there so people have that as a resource.
Yeah, tomorrow, guys. So if you're in North Carolina, get out and vote. I will be there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yep, we've already got it set up. I've already got it on Mom and my aunt's calendar so they don't forget, because we are going to vote early and often. No, I'm just kidding. Just early. We're not going to vote often.
All right, y'all. I definitely have to run, but thank you all for joining us. Please head over to everybody in here. Head over to AT. I will be over there on TikTok. That's where I'm going to be. TikTok, doing the Bible study over there. Really want y'all to get into the Word. This time I will not fumble y'all with KJV. I will give y'all NLT this time. I gave them the thou and the thus and the.
I love but I grew up with King James Version, and for some reason I think God speaks that way, even though I know He doesn't.
Me too, but everybody was probably sitting in the comments like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
Wait,
I know, but I grew up with it, and that is what. If you read me the NIV, I'm like, God doesn't sound that way. So
right?
God says thus and they and my soneth and my daughtereth. So stop it.
Well, thank you all for joining Platinum X Divas. We have so much that we're going to be dropping, and we're talking about everything. And I can't wait for y'all to see the things that Awesome is pulling out and 757 is pulling out. So make sure when you get to the page, make sure that you go into all the creators, follow all the creators, because I'm telling you, these ladies, I know y'all seen them all over. And me getting to even build a friendship with them, y'all, they're a trip. I love them. I love them to pieces. I love them to pieces.
They say I'm the comedian, but I'll take that.
And I love it.
I like them laughing.
True. I'm the wild card. I think we all know that. I'm the wild card.
I'm the crybaby. I'm the crybaby.
You're the sweet baby. Well, we'll call you a crybaby. All right. Well, Crystal, this was fun. Everybody, thank you for joining us. I had a blast.
Yes, me too.
You too. I can't stop smiling about Brett Baier.
Definitely a long time. Everyone have a good night and be blessed.
Yes, thank you guys. We'll see you again soon.
See you again soon. Good night.